We gaan naar de laatste spreker van vandaag. Zie je, dat wil ik horen. Goed zo. En ik ga zo meteen afscheid van u nemen. Die was veel spontaner. Heel goed. Ik kreeg net te horen dat de weg naar Zwolle nu al dicht begint te slimmen. Dus ja, ik moet echt daar op tijd zijn. Mijn excuses hiervoor. Ik was graag had ik met u afgesloten. Maar mijn telefoonnummer is 0652417727. Dus wil je me nog wat vragen, bel even. Onze laatste spreker van vandaag is een bijzondere man. He has been with Innocent for nearly 7 years with only one mission: to help people work better and go home happy. Tim will tell the story of how Innocent went from 3 friends in a loft in West London to the company voted 3rd best to work for in the country in 2018. The title of his presentation is How We Make Innocent Drinks a Happy Workplace. And ladies and gentlemen, he's all the way here from London, so please welcome him with a standing ovation, as we only can do that here. Come on, clap your hands, stamp your feet, and welcome to the floor, Mr. Tim Dorsett. Have a good one, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, question.
Which work result are you most proud of up till now?
Which work result?
Yeah.
3rd best in the UK last year. It's got to be.
That's the one?
That's the one.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Can I go now? Thank you so much.
Thanks
Have a
very
good
much.
one.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm really sorry, but I don't speak Dutch. That's probably quite oh, no. You're supposed to go, that doesn't matter, don't worry. It would be really embarrassing if I even attempted to do so. So let's leave it there. I'm Tim. And I've been at Innocent for 7 years. My job is head of internal communications and events. They wouldn't let me call myself head of parties and talking, unfortunately. And I'm colorblind. That's not important. It's just a little bit more interesting than the other bits I've told you already. Now, in 7 years of working Innocent Drinks, I've actually had about 3 or 4 different jobs. But they've all come under the same bracket, the same idea. I have always had the same purpose in all of those roles that I've had. And as was said at the beginning, that is to help people work better and go home happier. Now, I recognize that is mental. My parents don't even think it's a real job still, even though I've lived in London and bought my own flat for 7 years. But this is still quite a unique thing to say that I do every day. And it's an absolute honor to say that I do that to 450 people now across Europe and the world. And it's really down to these 3 guys here. So this is John Wright, Adam Ballon, and Richard Reed, the 3 founding fathers of Innocent Drinks. This is them back in 1999. This is them in 2015, a photo that was taken. Bit nicer shirts, you might have noticed, a bit happier maybe. That also might have something to do with the millions of pounds in their banks between the 2 photos. But what's really great is these guys set up Innocent with the idea in mind of they wanted to be happy where they worked. No one came in and changed anything. No one came in with this great brainwave of look at all these wonderful startups and how happy they are. This was absolutely ingrained in what they did right from day dot. They actually went to Cambridge University together. They were 3 very intelligent guys. They set up a club night in Cambridge. It was like the party place to be. And they knew that actually we work really well together. We're gonna set up a business when we leave university. And amazingly, these 3 Cambridge-educated, intelligent guys, their very first idea was electric baths. They went to Cambridge and their first idea was electric baths. So the first idea was that they would set the temperature, the volume of water, and the time that you would want your bath to be ready. And amazingly, nobody wanted to invest in that company. I mean, who knew? And this is genuinely true, and you can see Richard Reed, one of the founders, telling this story online. But they actually went on a skiing holiday. They got absolutely pissed, of want of a better word, on après-ski. The next morning, they went to the supermarket, they looked on the shelves, and there was nothing on the shelves in the supermarket that was going to make them feel better. Nothing. There was nothing on the shelves that was delicious and natural that was going to make them feel like they were going to live well and die past this hangover. And that is genuinely where the idea for Innocent Drinks came from. A hangover, isn't that? I think that's quite wonderful that I've had a job in London for 7 years thanks to 3 guys getting pissed on a ski slope. What they did was they went to a festival. They went to Parsons Green Jazz Festival, very middle class. And what they did was they bought £250 worth each of fruit, and they bought 2 blenders, and one of the recipes they made was strawberries and bananas, which we still make today. They put out a stall, and the 2 blenders made these smoothies at this festival, and above the stall it said, should we give up our day jobs to make these smoothies? And they had a yes bin, and they had a no bin. And at the end of the festival, all of the cups were in the yes bin, bar 3. The 3 cups that said, no, don't quit your jobs. And apparently that was their mums. I can't have my water there. I don't know if that's true. I wasn't around then. But the truth of it is that the next day, they all went in, they quit their jobs, and Fast Track to Smoothies was born. Yeah! No, essentially. This, if any of you are creative in any way, will know that this is pretty ugly. All right? I've just realized that my shirt's kind of clashing with the label and I just said ugly. We're going to ignore that. But if you're looking at something that is natural and delicious and you want it to really create the natural feel of the drink, you're not going to put a garish coloured label against the naturalness of the fruit. And also you're putting a really old man on a carbon monoxide pumping machine. Again, they were quite quick to realize this was not the brand for them. So they set up a spreadsheet. Now I'm more of a creative guy than I am a tech whiz, but I do have a favorite spreadsheet, and this is it. I hope you can all see that here. This is the naming process for Innocent Drinks. This is how they came up with the name. So you can see down that left-hand side all the names that they had, and then different criteria along the top, and on the right-hand side how it scored, and a couple of notes on each one. What I love about this spreadsheet, which is again a sentence I don't get to say very often, is if you look at the criteria they have going across the top, this is a very, very clever way of creating a name for a business, right? Scoring it. But if you look at the criteria they have, does it do it in a non-corporate, slightly kooky way? Is it fashionable? Could it be a club night? I mean, you're not reading that in a how-to-do business manual. From day one, Adam, Rich, and John, our founders, did business the way that felt right to them, that they wanted to do it. This is intelligent, but they've gone and done it in their way. Apparently, there are some other hidden tabs about, would I impress a girl if I said I worked for this company? Is this the company I want to say to my children I want to work for? And you can actually see that on the right, Innocent didn't score the highest. We couldn't have Naked, and it was a bit dodgy back then, so we weren't allowed to have that. Naked is one of our competitors in the UK now. Don't buy it. But Innocent did pretty well. There's a bit to aromatherapy, but that is genuinely how Innocent Drinks was born. And I know you've talked about this a bit today, but something that's really true to who I am and why I say Innocent is because of our purpose, our vision, and our values, and that's these. So our purpose, as I said, is to help people live well and die old with a delicious natural drink. Our vision is to become the world's favorite little healthy drinks company. And I think that's wonderful that we've kept that. To be the world's favorite little healthy drinks company. And that is our core vision, is really key to who we are and the decisions we make. And we do that by living our values. So being natural, entrepreneurial, responsible, commercial, and generous. And of course, hopefully you can understand why we might have gone with those words. For me, really important to highlight that we say commercial. If we didn't have commercial there, we'd be a bit more of a hippie kind of company. It's a bit of a wussy. So we need to recognize that we need to make money in order to do the right things in business. This is a really good example of how learning from the things that you do very early on and that kind of atmosphere that we had at Fruit Towers at the very beginning. So when you're sending out packs of drinks to the Tesco's, the Sainsbury's, the big kind of supermarkets, we had a load left over, and we thought it would be really funny to send one to an oil rig on the North Sea. That's a bit of banter, a bit silly, 5 guys in an office. And what we couldn't believe was that those guys went out of their way, wrote us a letter, took a photo and sent it back. They probably didn't write to their families that much, and they went out of their way for us. And that taught us very early on. If you speak to people like a human being and not like a corporation or a business, you get much further. And what I love is from this photo, you can see the packs that we've sent and you can see the bottles and the labels that we have. It's very similar, and this is 1999, to 13 years later when we partnered the biggest event on the planet. This was not some sort of kooky marketing tool to get more people involved. 1999 to 2012, there's not much difference from who we are. And for me, that's because we keep the main thing the main thing. So I'm now going to show you an image of a business, and of an office, and I'd like you to hazard a guess. Someone please shout out in English, because I won't know if you're right if you shout in Dutch, what this business makes. Go, say it louder. Baskets. Yeah, of course it does. Look at it. Of course it makes baskets. This is Longaberger in America. Of course, it's America. Now, what I love about this, two things I love about this, and that is the first one, that there is no way that anybody drives to work and does not know what they are ultimately there to do. Right? Isn't that wonderful? There is no way that anyone goes to work and that's the case. The other thing I love about it is someone in an office went, yeah, go on then, let's just massive handles on the top of our building. I love that too. I'm now going to show you an image of a business that I think doesn't know what it's there to do and doesn't keep the main thing the main thing. So here we have a 24-hour fitness gym that is giving you an excuse not to do exercise. Now, I'm not saying that Innocent is one big giant smoothie bottle. I wish it was sometimes. It's not. But what's really important and true is anyone that comes to work for Innocent is there to work for Innocent. And what they are there to do is to help make delicious natural drinks that help people live well and die old, which is our purpose. And that's whether you're in finance, in creative, in category, in commercial, in internal comms and events. My job is to help people live well and die old. And as long as you bring people on that journey, as long as we make sure everyone that steps foot at Innocent feels like they're a part of that goal, they're a part of the team, the whole team. And I think that's really, really important. And we do it with our tone of voice. So our tone of voice is about being honest, being natural, and being engaging. And what's really important is that these words will mean different things for different people. But as long as you stay true to that, that is how you talk to each other. I will want Pete in IT and Scott in finance to be honest and natural and engaging. And that is who we are. I don't want to hear anyone put on their work voice. Do you have the work voice? You call your friends and they answer the phone in the work voice. Don't do that. We've employed you because we like you. We think you're great, not because your CV said you were going to be the best person for the job. Be yourself. Does anyone know who this is? Oh, damn. Anyone? Someone Google it quickly. Does anyone recognize the films along the bottom? Yes? This is Wes Anderson. Yeah, I know, right? Wes Anderson, the film director. Now, what I love about Wes Anderson is he uses his own voice in everything he does. Now, if you look at his IMDb, his movie catalogue, the range of films he has done is pretty sensational. Fantasy, horror, puppet films for kids, puppet films for adults with Fantastic Mr. Fox and Isle of Dogs. And what I love about him is he always uses his voice to tell these stories. And that's what I want to do, and that's what Innocent wants to do, is we want to make every single type of liquid that we can, that's going to fit into our purpose, take over the world with juices, because that's our vision, but we want to do it with our voice. And why? Because we're sold in that environment. Yeah? That horrific Saturday morning with everyone else. How do we stand out? How has Innocent always stood out a little bit different? And that's by using our own voice, by being honest, natural, and engaging. A really good example of that was in 2005. We had a festival called Fruitstock. It went really well. It was in the London Parks, and London Parks then said, yep, you can do it again next year. And the next year we thought, right, how can we make it bigger? How can we make it better? What can we do that's different? And we thought, actually, the poster was great. Let's do exactly the same. So all we said was, a bit like last year, but with taller trees and different bands. It's honest, it's natural, it's quite engaging, it's not trying to do too much. And what happened was we were bigger than Glastonbury and had to be shut down for health and safety reasons. Just by being ourselves. And as long as we can learn from those moments, whether it be positively or negatively, so we should have got more security or looked at it, it doesn't matter. Keep learning, keep being excited. If you're going to be a business that grows and creates an atmosphere that everyone can feel a part of, that's really important. Does anyone here have a Moleskine notebook? Does everyone know what a Moleskine notebook is? Do you know what I love about Moleskine notebooks? It is just like any other notebook. And it costs about 35 euros more money, right? What's it got inside? Blank pages. And yet you will spend £35 on that notebook. Isn't that amazing? And Innocent, to a degree, does that as well. We are just another liquid. We are just another juice, another smoothie on that shelf, but we want to be more. And Moleskine gives you this little book at the back that says you can be like Van Gogh. You can be like Chatwin. It gives you that envelope where you can keep special notes. It gives you a much more detailed front page. It's more than just a notebook. And that's what Innocent wants to do. That's how we talk to our drinkers. That's how we talk to each other. When you're a company and you're starting up and you don't have the money for big TV ad campaigns or radio or anything like that, how do you talk to your drinkers? On the product itself, and that's why we started to speak to our drinkers in this way. It wasn't a genius marketing ploy to write jokes. It was because we didn't have any money to put it anywhere else. Including on the bottom, finding those spaces that people don't do. And you see this a lot now. In the UK, they call it wacky packaging or wackaging, right? Tiny little things. This is not a brilliant brainwave. This is not someone's genius idea. This is because we didn't have enough money for a TV advert. I think that's really cool. Don't listen to no, learn from it. This is the kind of encouragement we give to every new member of staff. How can you push the boundaries? If you are 70% sure of something, do it. If you have to wait for 100% sure, that means our CEO is making every decision. What kind of a boring 1D company would that be if that was the case? A really good example are these caps. So Dan Germain, number 4, we called him because he was the 4th person ever hired. He wanted to write enjoy by on our caps, and he wrote to Food Standards Agency and said, I'd like to write enjoy by on the top of our bottles because there are no additives, no preservatives or chemicals in our product. So it's like a banana. You don't have a best before on a banana or an apple, right? You just wait until it looks funny. Food Standards Agencies said, no, you can't do it. So Dan wrote an email back and said, yeah, okay, can you show me the rule or the law that says we can't do it? Food Standards wrote back and said, well, we don't have one yet, but you can't do it. And Dan wrote, well, I tell you what, I'm going to do that on our caps until you write that law, because I'm guessing it will take you a very long time to have a law put in place for that. And so for 6 years, we had enjoy by on the top of our bottles. As long as I work for a business that pushes those boundaries and that's encouraged within the business, we as a business have that environment and culture to push, including stopping looking at my bottom, which is on the bottom of our bottles. Why wouldn't you put that? Why wouldn't you push the boundaries of what bottle models look like? Every other company would have gone in to the model factory. What can we have on it? Well, what everyone else has got. Can we have this? Why not? Why not push the boundaries? Don't say no. And a great example of that is our Big Knit. Have you seen our Big Knit? You know, the little woolly hats that we put on our bottles? I hope you have. So this is New Adam. Now, New Adam is called New Adam because we already had an Adam. So his email address was new.adam@Innocent Drinks. And he came up with the Big Knit because he went to his nan's with a load of smoothies to show her the company that he'd started working for. And she used to make him little boiled eggs on soldiers, dipping on soldiers. And she used to make little hats to go over the top of the eggs to keep them warm while he was eating one at a time. And he popped that hat off, he put that hat on the bottle, and he went, fuck me. That's beautiful. That's a wonderful thing. So he went back, I've got an idea. This is how we're going to market it. We're going to get old people we're going to get old people that are associated with Age UK charity to knit loads of hats, put them on our bottles. We're going to sell them. Every bottle that we sell, we're going to give money back to charity. And Adam, Rich, and John went, no, that's a shit idea. And he went, well, hang on. You tell me not to listen to no. So him and his nan knitted 100 hats. They went to a local shop, only put the hats on one recipe, and by the end of the week, only the bottles with the hats on were sold. And Adam, Rich, and John went, well done for learning the lesson of not listening to no. And they took all the credit, but New Adam we have. And do you know what? That's a really cool story, and it's a great thing to give, but the real importance of how damn good the hats are. Pretty good, right? I've tried twice to knit a hat, and it took about 3 weeks both times, and it didn't fit a bottle by the end of it. They're very tough. But now this is a great thing to do. Obviously, photos will want to be taken of that. But for us at Innocent and how we create as the group atmosphere is because of this. So this is Ali and Marion. Now, Ali and Marion drove from Portsmouth, which is about 2.5 hours from the Innocent office in northwest London. And they drove because they didn't trust the Royal Mail with their hats. Now, Marion's husband on the right, he drove them. They came up and they came with 2,222 hats knitted by them and a few others by their friends. And I tannoyed the whole business in the UK because we don't often get to meet the knitters because they get sent to the office. So I tannoyed the whole business and said, please come down, come and see some of the big knitters. They've driven all the way from Portsmouth. So as a tirade of about 100 people came down, Marion's husband legged it and sat in the car because he was so embarrassed. Marion kept going and taking him a coffee while she was sitting there and having photos. And the head of our social media was in that day, and they went on back of pack, and they went on our social media campaign because they are the real people that this is about. We'll talk a bit more about BigKnit later. AKL, tiny little thing, this is about your customer. This is about your consumer and really listening to the people around you. We have a lot of people, I don't know if there are some in the audience, that apparently are either afraid of bananas or we've had letters of people afraid of bananas, or don't like the flavour or allergic. And for 7 years, we had letters, we had emails, we had telephone calls for people that were saying, I love the look of your drinks. All of my friends say they're great, but I want one without bananas. And it took us 7 years to develop the recipe. And the final piece of the puzzle was spinach. There was a bit of spinach extract to give it that. If you're in marketing, it's got to be that perfect green. It can't just be green, apparently. It has to be perfect. So it took us 7 years. Now, lots of companies will then just go, hammer and tong, let's make a big billboard. Let's tell people there's a green smoothie without bananas in. What Innocent did for 7 years was take every single one of those telephone calls, every single one of those emails, and one of those phone calls, took down their address, and when we created the smoothie, we sent them a case of this smoothie. Why? Because they're the ones that are going to buy it. They're the ones that kept talking to us, and we kept listening to go and create this recipe. Now, 50% of them might have swigged it and gone, well, that was worthless, that was rubbish. But I guarantee you over half of them went, wow. Isn't that amazing? And they went and bought one, and they liked the taste of it, and they carried on buying it. Those tiny little things that you can do that make you feel like a company that cares, because we do care, that's the right thing to do. And as long as I work for a business where I recognize the decisions that people make about doing things like this, I will continue to represent and be proud of the business that I work for. So, I'm now just going to show off. I hope that's okay. I'm now going to talk about the things that I think make Innocent pretty special, and why you can see now that it's ingrained from who we are at the very beginning to be happy, and now I'm going to talk about the things that we do around the office and within the business that really push the boundaries of happy sometimes. So we have quite an inspiring office. It's open plan, as you can imagine, very, very cool, trendy office. Everyone likes to Instagram it. But it's really set up for who we are and what we do. Nice big open plan, as you can see here. I'm going to turn my back to you a second. You can see this mezzanine level here, yeah? When we moved in, this was a whole other floor. And even though we knew that our growth was going to be pretty radical, we knocked that floor down. Why? Because we wanted a big, open, bright space for people to call home. Nobody has their own office at Innocent. That's very important. Our CEO and our board of directors sit on desks with everybody else. Now, the majority of the office have their own seat. It's not hot desking. We want them to have a home, but they will not sit in their teams. They sit cross-functionally. Why? Because we want you to be interested in what else is going on in the business. If you sit in your team, I guarantee marketing will sit down as marketing, talk about marketing, get up as marketing, go to a meeting room, sit down as marketing, nod a bit, get up, go back to their desk, sit down as marketing and go, that was a good meeting about marketing. We want people to care and understand what else is going on in the business. Why? Because we are here to make delicious natural drinks that help people live well and die old. And that means I want to know how other things work and how we cross-functionally manage things. And I think that's really cool. Also, it is work. Right? We are not like Google, and we are not like Facebook, and please don't tell them I said this. I might make you bleep this out of the film. They create sleep pods, and they create swimming pools and running tracks and 3-course dinners as standard for retention. They want you to be there early in the morning and not leave till very late at night and say that you're going to do the same again tomorrow. At Innocent, it is where you work, and we recognize that. You are only coming into work because you have to, right? If you won the lottery tomorrow, you would leave. I love my job, but let's be honest. If I won 71 million, I'd be somewhere else. But we recognize that, and we want to support people through that. If they are staying past 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, their work rate is not helping them, and they are not going to get 8 hours sleep, and that means they are not going to be good at their job tomorrow. My job is to help them work better. I want them to be able to work to the best of their ability, so let's make it comfortable for them to do so. I think that's really cool. Open communication. We talk a lot. And of course, I would say communication is one of the best things because I'm in charge of it. We have a Monday morning meeting every Monday morning, which is the entire company. And they dial in, they WebEx in or Skype for Business into our meetings. And it's not business critical, it's cultural critical. We have 9 people that work in our Dutch office in Amsterdam. We have 3 in Milan. We have 282 in our UK office. I want those people in those and 7 other offices around Europe. I want everyone to feel connected to who we are and what we do. 3 people having an MMM, okay. A Monday morning meeting, okay. But I want them to feel connected with what's happening back at head office where most of the news is happening. And within those meetings, we tell everybody everything. If we're going to launch a new product, we tell everyone. Why would you drip feed it through? I'm going to keep saying it, but everyone at Innocent is there to make delicious natural drinks that help people live well and die old. So let's tell them. Just because IT only fix the computers or enable our systems to work doesn't mean they don't deserve to know that we're about to launch coconut water. We're about to launch a new refreshment range. We're maybe in the future going to launch soups. Like, we don't know what we're going to do. We want everyone to be a part of that journey. And you know what? The greatest story is when we did launch coconut water, which is delicious if you haven't had it, by the way. Our coconut water was launched from product to shelf in 8 months, which is the quickest ever turnaround we had. And our CEO got up in front of the whole company, like I am here to you, and said, guys, we're going to launch coconut water in 8 months. Please don't tell anybody. And that included, that's the alarm going off because I said something about coconut water. That included a girl whose sister worked for our chief competitor. But we have to trust her. Why wouldn't we? She is here for Innocent for the same purpose, with the same vision, living by the same values as everyone else. We need to keep everyone open to that communication. Also, our Christmas meetings are pretty fun. Now, somebody on this photo is our CEO, and somebody on these photos is our head of social media. On the left there, you've got Helena. She looks after our social media at Innocent. And on the right, I tricked you, that's in our entire board team at our Christmas meeting. Now, it's not just an opportunity to make them look silly, but our CEO, again, we might have to cut this out, our CEO is not the most interesting man in the business. Him delivering a message is not as interesting as the person that looks after our social media who is very, very funny. Recognizing that as a business of our size is really important. Using people's strengths to get across the messages that we need to land is really, really important. He'd kill me if he knew that this photo was in this presentation. Our drinkers, as we've touched on, are pretty important too. On the back of our products, there is a telephone number, an address, and an email address. And all of those functions are direct to the UK office or the various offices around Europe. Now, what that means is, if you have a problem and you're in London and there's, a foot in your smoothie or something, you can call that number and you will speak to someone directly that works for Innocent. Now, that's not just the customer service team. That is every single person in the business. And why? Because we want our drinkers to be connected to who we are. And what happens is, if there is a problem, if I pick up the phone, I will write an email to our customer service team, our people's champions, we call them, and I'll go, hey guys, we've had a call, there was a moldy smoothie, and this is her address. She seemed okay about it, but if you could get her back in contact. And what we do is we will handwrite a letter, we will put vouchers in there, and maybe some magnets or something that, depending on the issue that we have, and we send it to our drinkers. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. If we've messed up, we need to go out of our way to show them that we are sorry. If you call up your phone service provider, your bank, they make it very, very hard for you to speak to anyone about the apology, right? At Innocent, we recognize that if we've messed up, that's really bad. If that's the shop that they bought it from, the fridge didn't work, we've trusted that shop to sell our drink. If the delivery meant that it got there out of date, that's our fault because we trusted that part of our supply chain. So we go out of our way to prove that we are sorry, because our drinkers make us who we are. They are just as much the part of the community as anything else. And it leads to this. What we usually find is once we've written to somebody, they will then write back to us. We've never put this on our smoothies to do this. I've never asked for anyone to send a photo of their hamster coming out of a bottle. We wouldn't specifically ask someone to do that. Our drinks aren't magic. You don't take a sip of a smoothie and go, I'm going to make a blanket. That's not a thing. but our drinkers are so much a part of who we are and what we do it for that I'm very proud to say that they are such a big part of what we do. And this is all stuff that they've sent in off their own back. We've never asked for any of these things. We've never promised anything in return for this. This is our drinkers recognizing who we are as a brand and wanting to tell us, and that's incredibly special. Our drinkers are really important that we want to give them the right level of information. That means that if we are going to be doing sampling at festivals or at places, we don't hire a temp agency of people that are just wanting some cash and will hand out things. We represent them ourselves, including doing Lowlands Festival twice. I look happy because this is the first day, as you can imagine. And it was very sunny that year. Thank you, Holland, the Netherlands. But we want to represent ourselves in these scenarios. If you want to ask a question about Innocent, I want to be able to really give you an answer, not someone that is just there to hand out a drink. We should be responsible for the product that we help make, and I am a part of that, as well as this has got someone from marketing, someone from commercial, someone from category, a field sales. Come and represent the brand. Be that direct link to the product that we have. And of course, our social media. Social media is a really big part of who we are and how you can talk to your drinkers. Someone in our Twitter team wrote smoothies at 4 a.m. and then called it #night marketing. As a bit of a joke, because it's obviously terrible marketing ploy to write smoothies at 4 a.m. Now, this led to a conversation with a lady of all the different ways that you could write smoothies on Twitter. And this went on between our Twitter guy and this lady for about 2 months. Just on and on. That's a word? I mean, amazing. Can anyone see it? Can anyone see it? I've lost it. Can anyone see it? Someone tell me. Got it, I've got it, thank you. And it carries on, a to-do list, fridge, out of grapes, watercolour. This has nothing to do with selling a smoothie. Nothing. This is 2 months of someone's time. But what is it? It's about being connected to our drinkers. I want them to smile, I want them to connect with who we are, we want them to be a part of the brand and what Innocent stands for. One of my favourites, and I hope this translates, was this. So we were having a joke with someone about bad puns. So the Brits love a pun. And we asked this lady, do you know what the secret of comedy is? And she wrote, no. What's the secret of comedy? And 6 months later, we wrote back, timing. This has nothing to do with selling a drink. What I love about that is Jonathan put in his calendar, send that tweet in 6 months' time. Isn't that amazing? But as much as we can promote this in the business as this is how we want to do it, this goes right back to that spreadsheet of how to name your business. Do it in a silly way. Do it what's right for you. If it feels right for you, it will be right for Innocent. If it is honest, if it is natural, if it is engaging and it's true to who you are doing it right. Mess up. Fail again, fail better. You only learn from the failures, but push those failures, push those boundaries to be the right thing for us. I think that's really important for who we are. Who knew that if you put a grape in a raspberry, it would look magnificent? Right? And who knew that 150,000 people were going to tell us that they liked it? That's amazing. I just love it. Our drinkers are pretty special. So special that when someone in our office who was getting very annoyed at the staplers running away went and put do not remove. So someone put it on the second floor and went, bleh. There you go. 19,000 followers thought that was very funny. So we thought, yeah, here we go. Here's an idea. So that same person then took it to America. Pretty impressive, right? It didn't stop there. It went to Disneyland Paris. It went scuba diving. And it ended up being international news. Again, it's about being a part of a community. None of this is buy one, get one free. This is not, if you go to Asda now, it's a special offer. It's, there we are. Remember that we're funny and we want to be more than just a product on the shelf. Help people live well and die old doesn't just need to be the nutrients and the goodness that's in a drink. So that's social media. Surprise and delight, these are some of my favorite things. This here is Sexy Power Suit Day, okay? So on Sexy Power Suit Day, we emailed everyone. So this guy here on the right with the glasses on, this is Tom Frayne. stupidly, Tom left Innocent Drinks to go and work for the government. Yeah. Everyone did it. That's what's amazing about Innocent. This is not, I'll give you free lunch if you do it. This isn't, you can finish early if you do it. This is, do you know what, let's go and have a laugh. Let's do it in this space where you're working really hard. Our drinks have a very short shelf life. They're quite expensive. They're a premium product. You're working very, very hard. Let's make it a better place while you can do it. A little bit annoyed at, where is she? Someone in here laugh. Closed eyes, disappointed in you. And this, Rachel here with the yellow, disappointed. That's too bright for corporate day, isn't it? Disappointed in her. And hilariously, the only person smiling is Douglas, our CEO, because finally he got to wear a suit. Very, very pleased. Finally, he felt comfortable. But there's lots of things that we do about surprising and delight. You've got lots of companies that will have lots of money in their budget at the end of the year. What can you do in that year to break that budget up to make people smile every day? On Valentine's Day, the team go over to a supermarket and they spend about 50 quid on all that horrible tat that teenagers buy each other on Valentine's Day. And we decorated the lift, so it turned into the lift of love. And we put this balloon in, we put bunting up. I bought Love Heart Post-it notes, and on the Love Heart Post-it notes, I wrote the 5 girls that I fancied in the office, my top 5, stuck it up on the wall, left my Post-it notes in there. By the end of the day, everyone's top 5s were on the wall of the lift. Those tiny little things that you can do that made Dan, who worked on a very tough account in the commercial team, not go home and moan about his day at work again, but took a photo of it and showed his mates. Tiny little things like that that really mean that when you're doing the right thing, that you're working for a business that recognizes 5 people doing this job is important. Halloween, floor lunches, yeah, Liv still won't talk to me about that one. Thought of the weeks, those little things, this costs nothing. This costs nothing but 5 minutes a day. Have you thought about it? Have you thought about it? So, visitors. Our doors are always open. We love visitors. It says on the back of our bottles, if you want to call this number, you can come in. It also has our address, and it says, please pop in. And you know what? People do pop in. Here are some of my favorite guests. The guy at the top middle, he was applying for a role called the Office Superman, and the Office Superman is essentially facilities manager. The fact that he turned up to give his CV in dressed as Superman, the fact that he knew that he had a better chance of being seen dressed as Superman, Innocent is doing the right thing, and I love that. Matt Dawson, the guy at the central bottom, he was in the World Cup winning team. Top right, Taco, the token dog that pops in every now and again. And our probably most high-profile guest that we've ever had was President Bill Clinton. Now, he popped in because Innocent gives some of its profits to charity, which I'll talk about in a second. But Bill came in, Bill came in to do a 5-minute, listen to me, to do a talk with the Secret Service. You see that photo back there? Yeah? Oh, man, that was so cool. When they had a meeting with me on arrival, they looked at me like I was work experience, going, are you kidding? This guy's in charge of madness. But I was very excited. And I'm proud. Halfway through my top 10, I'm proud. I am proud to work for Innocent, and that is huge. And we need to shout about that internally, and that's something that we really encourage everyone to do. Looking back at our values, our bottom value, which is being generous, is really important to us. And part of being generous means that we give 10% of our profits to charity every year, no questions asked. And we do that in 3 ways. So we do it globally, regionally, and locally. So globally means that we have an Innocent Foundation, which is working to cure the world of hungry people. We have regional, which is the Big Knit, as I mentioned, which gives 25p of every bottle sold with a woolly hat on back to Age UK, so the knitting groups that we have. And the Big Grow is we give seeds and plant packs to schools to try and get them encouraged in growing fruit and veg of their own to put in their own smoothies. And then local, we're each contracted to do a volunteer day, whether that be painting an old lady's house, working in a local school, fixing the IT team went to a charities and fixed all of their computer systems in a day. It's giving back. And again, we're encouraged to do this. This is spoken about all the time internally. That's how you create that rolling energy. And Innocent is a B Corp. Does anyone know what a B Corp is? No? It's amazing. So B Corp is an amazing organization which is about trying to put people first. So trying to create a global economy through people-focused business. So what can business do for the world that is going to help the world? So try and be the change that we want to see and pushing that innovation forward. And we're incredibly proud to now be a part of B Corp. Patagonia is probably one of the most famous ones. It's a B Corp, or Ben & Jerry's ice cream, they're a B Corp. So it's about putting people-minded businesses first. So what can we give back to the world? Be that change that you want to see. Leave things better than we found them is the way that we talk about it. And sustainability. So this big plastic push at the moment, Innocent have actually been looking at it since 2008. 50% of our bottle is recycled plastic, 15 is plant-based, and that's from the molasses in sugarcane. And we are working on the rest. The difficulty that we have is that our product is, of course, completely natural, which means that if you have a bottle that's too recyclable, that the fermentation process speeds up. But we are generally trying to work on it. And what we do is we tell everyone. We don't sell our bottles off this information. We don't sell our bottles off that. It's about telling people internally to be proud of what they do, so we continue to work as hard as we can. And my favourite story is this, and I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to rattle through. Sorry, every time. We changed our kids' packaging from the left, which is the white smoothie, to the coloured smoothie there. We knew that we needed a packaging refresh. It needed to look new. We needed something to excite our drinkers, and we went from left to right. When the drinks were on shelf, everyone was high-fiving. Sales went up by like 60%. The creative team and marketing were hugging. Commercial were high-fiving. Everyone was loving life, except for 20 families. And now 20 families contacted us to say that their children suffer from autism. And part of autism is that they really struggle with change. And a change in their diet or the way that they do things is a real hurdle. And the kids would not drink the new product because of the new packaging. 20 families out of 60% profit rise, right? The company that I work for, Innocent Drinks, immediately recalled as much of the old product off shelf as they could and stored it in a chilled central warehouse to give to those families whilst we came up with a plan of what to do. First thing we did. Second thing we did was we got 2 project managers, a creative, to work out what we could do to try and ease that transition. And what they did was they created this book. So it's called The Smoothies New Clothes, and it took you through a little flip page book. So the first page was like, do you know what? I'm getting bored, and I want to change what I look like. Next page was like, I could look like this. And it was a wheel, and it was like, I could look like this, and I could look like this, and I could look like this. I want to look like this. And the next page was the 2 products, and you opened up and it said, look, it's exactly the same inside as before. And then the last page was a blank page, and it was like, why don't you draw a version of what you want Smoothies New Clothes to look like? And we sent those books individually to those 20 families. And do you know what? It didn't work with some of the families. 3 or 4 of the families were like, this is a disaster. It's the only kind of hydration I can get my kids to have. But we also got pictures like this, and this is Zach. And this was one of the kids that had contacted us, or his parents had, going from old packaging to new packaging. 20 families buying drinks for another 5 years wouldn't have made anything on that profit scale. It wouldn't have mattered at all. As long as I work for a business that recognizes that everyone out there deserves to drink our drinks if they want them, and that we are trying to help people live well and die old, is the amount of time that I will continue to work for Innocent Drinks. Very proud. And then we won this last year, which we've already talked about twice, so I'll let it go. Services to Fruit, which is our Employee of the Month. It's pretty cool. Each person that wins, it's £100, but it's not just about the winner. Every single nomination is read out, and that's very important. It's not just about who's the best. It's about everyone else. So, of course, in innocent fashion, if you do win, everyone has to get on their hands and knees and says, "We are not worthy. We are not worthy." But it's about making it. Everybody needs to be recognised for the work that they do. We make good drinks. When you talk about the top 10 things about us, it would be very difficult for me to stand up here working for a tobacco company, wouldn't it? Be very tough, but we make amazing drinks that help people live well and die old. And as a business and as a person, it's quite cool to be able to stand up and say every single drink that we make does you some good. The big stuff, we throw damn good parties at Innocent Drinks. This was our Christmas party. Obviously, the guys love the fancy dress, and the girls want to look nice. We've been to Spain, we've been to Luton, which is not as exciting as Spain. We've been to Austria, we've been to France, and this is our big summer party, so we get everybody together to celebrate how we're doing. And this was us last year, again, in Alicante. That's our whole team, our board dressed up as lifeguards. They were not in a fit state to be lifeguards. And my number one, the final thing, the thing that makes Innocent the most important thing out there and the best company, I think, and the happiest company are the people. the people that work for our business. We have a baby photo wall in our chill out area. And as soon as you start on your first day, you give us a baby photo. And we don't put it at the bottom. You're not the new person. We don't put you in an org chart. We put you in the middle. Why? Because we're all here for the same thing. We are all a part of this business. And we want you to look at that thing and go, yeah, I'm a part of that team. And that's really important. A lot of companies would say something like, do you want to go back? Do you want to get that photo? No, skip faster. Sorry, I got evils from someone wanting to take a photo. All right, pleasure. So there's 2 versions of this. So this is the first one. Recruit on potential, not experience. That's where you find happy people that you put trust in, people that you want to be excited to work for you. You can fill a job, anyone can fill a job, but are they the right person for it? This is one way to say it. My preferred way to say it is, we'd rather have a hole than an arsehole. I would rather have 10 people doing 15 people's jobs, and those 10 people are core, innocent, value-led people that are all there for the same purpose, doing the right thing, than have 10 great people and 5 arseholes that are going to be detrimental to the business and to the brand. And that's how we keep core. Last slide, I promise, last slide. No one can, genuinely, you can't take a photo of this. And if I get found out for having this in, I'm going to get very told off. This is a part of our 2020 strategy, is a bit, don't you dare. I mean it, seriously. I really toyed with putting this in or not. Can you actually not put the screen up? Is that all right? Thank you. So, this here is the final pillar of our 2020 strategy. This was built in 2015, so every 5 years we put out a new strategy. I work for a business that will tell every single one of its employees that a quarter of what we should be putting towards is being proud for the business that we work for. I think that's amazing. I can't show you what the other 3, they're very commercial. But as long as I work for a business that on their 2020 strategy, what we keep going to as a business has this as a focus, and at the bottom, stay little as we grow big through culture, environment, and values, I'm working for a business that recognizes what is important for businesses today. And there we are. Dank u wel. Thank you very much. Thank you.